Welcome. Today we're going to talk about brain fog and decision making. Now, obviously, that's going to be during menopause. So let's just get my screen share up and running. Share. It should be there. So brain fog and decision making, obviously, during menopause. So welcome. What we're going to look at today is going to be the impact that our menopausal brain fog can have on our ability to make decisions. And that can be on a daily basis. For some of us, it can be quite overwhelming, the amount of times that brain fog can get in the way. So who am I? I'm Tracy Montgomery. I am an older single mum to one incredible, amazing teen daughter. And what is it that I know about menopause? Well, like many, I thought I'd swerved that menopause roller coaster because I got to my mid-50s and really nothing had happened. But over one weekend, everything changed in that aspect. I had quite severe symptoms, quite severe bleeding, pain. I was shaking that much. I do have a history of endometriosis, but I thought that I'd managed to avoid all of the symptoms. So by the time I actually got to gynecologist, who happened to be female, and I walked through the door, the first thing that she said to me was, "You're a little bit old." So I got a bit confused, as you do. So then I thought, need to investigate this menopause thing a little bit further. Luckily, the nurse at my local doctor's practitioners is fab. And when I said to her, "Am I too old for this? Should I be out?" And she's like, no, broad spectrum. So I started investigating. So yeah, the average age to hit menopause is 51, 52. Depends on which articles you read, 51, 52, the average age is. But menopause can start a lot earlier, excuse me, and in my case, tad later. So this is one of the things with menopause. 100% of women are going to go through it at some point. When it's going to happen is not a given. How long it's going to happen, not a given. Severity of symptoms, not a given. So the only way that we know that we are going to go straight through to menopause is be it through surgical, which can happen, and then there are still repercussions because in a moment we'll discuss some of the stages. Medical conditions or disease conditions, and then naturally. So, stages of menopause. So before menopause starts, you're in this pre-menopause stage. That's the normal stage, you're getting regular periods. Now this is the bit where all the hormones start to go, and this is the bit that we all associate with menopause. This is the perimenopause. The perimenopause is when those hormones start to go wild, and we start experiencing these symptoms. We'll talk about some of those in a little while. Then we get into we state that we're in actual menopause. Now, actual menopause is a year after our last period stopped. And then we get into postmenopause, and you're in postmenopause until you shuffle off the planet. It does not mean to say that all of your symptoms are going to stop. So today, we're going to discuss brain fog. Now, brain fog is one of the more common symptoms that we talk about. We talk about things like your hot flashes, your mood swings, your sleepless nights, the insomnia, and we talk about brain fog. Brain fog is the one where you can't quite think straight and things start to go awry. Forget people's names, you put your keys in the fridge, store the milk in the bath, all of that sort of things. And your thoughts can get a little bit muddled. I do this all the time at work. I call things doofers. Everybody's used to it now, which is fine. I don't mind it. However, I mean, I have called things doofers for a long time, so not sure I can put all that onto being in perimenopause. But what is happening is that our hormones are going to affect how we can communicate. So we know in our brains we've got these neurotransmitters, and they all rely on hormones. It's how we express ourselves. It's how we talk about things, how we communicate to not only ourselves, but to others and those around us. And sometimes those neurotransmitters missions don't go through because the hormonal pathway isn't the same. And the brain has got used to a certain hormonal profile, and now it's no longer there. Now, the problem is that because we are not expressing ourselves as we used to, it can cause issues with our communication to others around us. So that can be relationships on a personal level, relationships on a work level. And that's because we can't express ourselves as we used to. We can't think about what we want to say as we used to. And that can feel like there's blocks there, or we're missing things. And then our emotions do not get interpreted correctly. So, what can we do to help improve our communication at this time? So, there are certain communication strategies that you can use at any time, and you can bring these in particularly when your brain's not quite used to the signals that are going on up there. So, listening rather than verbalizing first, so that we can listen to what people are saying to us before we reply. Keeping what you're going to say shorter and more concise. Less words, less confusion. But what we also need to remember to do is to calm the brain at this time. So we've discussed this before, because this helps an awful lot at this stage. Mindfulness practices, meditation practices, so that we're taking the stress out of things, because that will release other hormones as well. And then that can create even more confusion. What we have to remember is that we're not the only ones that are going to go through this. Every female is going to go through this. And part of this communication needs to be with other females as well. So when we go to communicate with others, if we know we're going to be communicating, so I know I'm communicating with you now, and I can still, even though I prepared these slides, go off on a tangent, forget what I'm saying. I don't want to read these slides. That's your job. You want to read the slides. I need to discuss and talk around them, but I can give myself prompts. Now, my brain now can often go off in a tangent. I mean, that can happen to anyone. But I've got key pointers to bring me back. Did you notice that? Off I went somewhere, just looked at my slide and saw key points. Key points, bring me back. Schedule, this is scheduled. This is at a certain time, so I know when I need to be prepared. So beforehand, I've had a bit of a chill time. Sometimes I don't do that. I think on the last call I hadn't. I'd literally just stop, let's go. That sometimes isn't a good way of communicating. And that's sometimes why, when things are on top of you, because we lead busy lives, so many things are happening. Sometimes when you get overwhelmed by too many conversations coming in, your brain can't keep up at the moment. So when we want to communicate, we want to try and keep things calm with ourselves so that we give our brains time to catch up. So if we can speak clearly, If we can keep what we're saying shortened, so it's concise, it's to the point. And then communication is a two-way. So information back is useful. Information back helps. Break. If we're trying to give an awful lot of information in one go, break it down. Make it easier. And give yourself time to get through this. We come back to our lifestyle habits all the time to help improve our communication. If you are absolutely exhausted, fatigue is a key symptom of menopause, of the menopause transition. So make sure that you are getting adequate sleep, enough sleep. Try to manage your stress levels. So make sure you're getting outside. Okay, it might be raining, but hey, it's only the clothes, not the weather. Make sure you give yourselves time to chill. You need to relax. And eating. We discuss this every week. Make sure that you are eating a healthy diet, limiting the alcohol, limiting the caffeine. We discuss these. These are threads that are going to weave through all, no matter how old you are, no matter what's happening, healthy habits. They are more prevalent and their importance and significance is raised as we get older because the likelihood is we're going to have more medical complications coming along. So, whilst we're looking at after ourselves in the here and now, which is going to help with our future, we want to think about how we can future cast. So, we should already be planning for our future. We should already be planning for our retirement, and we should be looking to have as financially stable future as we possibly can. Now, things that can disrupt that are how our brain, how we think is working. Our cognitive ability can be a bit fuzzy at the moment. So we need to structure our future casting in. Why? Why do women in particular need to think about their future? There's an awful lot of evidence out there that women over 50, more women over 50 than ever before, are finding themselves on their own. It's just one of those things that seem to be happening, and that can have a huge impact on your financial future. Now, remember, being 50 is not the end of everything. It's not a time to give up. It's not a time to stop. There are still things that you can do. 40%, well, up to 40% of women change their career, end their career, have to do different careers during the menopause transition and because of menopausal symptoms. For some of us, just getting up in the morning and putting on clothes is a struggle. Getting into a boardroom for some during menopause can be just too much. So we need to think about that, and we need to look at how we can address it. We also need to take into account that family dynamics can change as women reach late 40s, mid 50s. Now, that can be because the caring burden is often put upon women. So that could be caring for older relatives within the family. It could be caring for younger relatives within the family. But it's normally that burden is put upon women. So that may reduce your time. So if you're working, it could reduce your time to work. It could add to your burden. So you're already tired from work. You then have to do caring responsibilities, which again adds to your fatigue, doesn't give you time to chill, doesn't give you time to relax, adds to more of the burden that's going to cause more brain fog, going to cause more cognitive issues because you're already more tired than you've ever been before. So you need to look at how you can future-proof. Now, we might want to increase the amount of money we've got coming in. And traditionally, it would be go out and get a second, third job. Well, that's fine if you do not have other commitments and if you have the strength and the stamina to add to that time burden. That can be too much for some because you just can't fit it in. There's just not enough time to do a full-time job and care for all your family members that you may need to be caring for, including yourself. There are other options out there that can maximize your income potential, can diversify your income potential, and can do it over a shorter time frame. But they're not going to be the normal money for time. There are different ventures and possibly ventures that you would normally associate with younger people. So things like traveling can also come into play. And you can also sell traveling to people as well. Money online. Now, I know our age group and above, money online. Yeah, we need to be careful. But there are ways to make money without leaving the house, without having too many time restrictions. Yeah, there's going to be some time restrictions. I mean, you know, unless you find that lucky ticket, there are going to be time restrictions. So, if any of this has piqued your interest and you want to learn more about your menopausal journey and future-proofing your finances, I'm not talking about life insurance, which would be life assurance, isn't it? Because at some point you're going, yeah. I'm not talking about that sort of thing. I'm talking about alternative methods of increasing your financial viability. Pop on a call, scan the code on there, or drop me a message if you can't scan or don't want to scan. And we can talk further about improving your futures. So let me just stop the share. Let me just wish you all well. Hope to see you next week on our next call where we're going to talk about sleep. We're going to talk about sleep and how, I'm looking at myself, I don't know why I look at myself. I'm going to talk about sleep and how sleep can be affected by menopausal journey. So lovely to see you. I will talk to you all next week. Bye for now.